What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Christian Corey. You see the title and the thumbnail in today's video. Today, we're going to be going over some injury updates, and I want to get into a comparison between two very young studs when it comes to starting pitching. Yes, that is Shohei Ohtani and Casey Mize. And you're thinking, how can you compare Shohei Ohtani, who's like a magician and Superman on the mound and at the plate, to Casey Mize, who really is struggling for a struggling team in the Detroit Tigers? Well, if you want to know, stay tuned and stick around for that answer. So, without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's go over the injury news. And the number one thing on the list is the Braves and their starting pitcher, Max Fried. It says Fried through live batting practice without any issues Thursday and remains on track to return to the mound from a right hamstring strain for Atlanta series against the Nationals next week. Quote, "We'll see how he's coming in Friday," manager Brian Snitker said, "but I thought he looked really, really good today. It was encouraging." That's important news for the Braves. Obviously, they can't slug their way to a division title again. That division is actually pretty tight, but yet pretty bad at the same time, because everybody in that division, as of right now, is either at or below 500. If you look at the standings for the NL East, the Braves are in first place as of now. The Phillies are 12-13. The Mets are 9-10. Everybody's within 2 games of that first place spot, but everybody in that division is at or below 500. So that is something to note when we're talking about the Braves and the NL East. A very tight division, but not a very competitive one when it comes to the overall records. No one is above 500 almost at the end of April here, 1 month into the season. Next, we have the A's and Matt Olson. This Olson was scratched from the starting lineup before Thursday's 3-2 victory over the Rays after being struck in the left eye by a batting practice ball that ricocheted off the L screen, protecting the pitcher. His eye was swollen, but x-rays did not show any broken bones. It's still undetermined how long Oakland's slugging first baseman will be sidelined, but the club is hopeful he won't have to go on the injured list. This reminds me of what happened to the Nationals starting pitcher Mad Max, the guy who has 2 different eye colors. Well, I remember a couple of years ago, I don't remember which year, but he was taking batting practice and he was bunting. And when he bunted the ball back up into his face, hit him in the eye, and he had a brown eye, a blue eye, and a black eye. I remember that very well. That was very embarrassing for him. Kind of sucked. It reminds me of this injury that occurred with Matt Olson and the A's very much. So there's a comp right there. Next is an update on the Bryce Harper and Didi Gregorius incident that occurred in St. Louis. We talked about that yesterday on the channel. Here's an update on both of their statuses. It says Harper and Gregorius did not play in Thursday's game against the Cardinals after each was hit by consecutive pitches during Wednesday's contest. Harper was hit in the face and Gregorius was hit in the ribs. Harper took to Instagram to announce that he felt good and there was no broken bones in his face. Manager Joe Girardi said Gregorius may need imaging on his ribs to determine the extent of the injury. So there's somewhat of irony in the situation that the guy who gets beamed in the face has less negative outcomes than the guy who gets hit in the ribs. Now, again, getting hit anywhere with 95 plus is going to hurt you and probably do some damage to the human body. But you'd think the guy got whacked in the face with 97 would be worse off than the guy who got hit in the ribs with 95 or whatever it was. So that's interesting to note there. But hopefully both of these guys can come back quickly for the Phillies, because you know that the Phillies need these 2 guys in their lineup. Very important for both of these guys to come back swinging the bats. I think it's indicative for the Phillies to make the playoffs this season. I know it's a slow start for them, but hey, you got 162 this time around. Make it worth your while, and hopefully Gregorius and Harper can contribute massively to this Phillies club. Brusto Gratterall and the Dodgers. Gratterall was placed on the 10-day injured list with right forearm tightness Thursday. The severity of the injury is not yet known, and it's unknown how or when he sustained it. So I think I'm going to end it off there because honestly, the rest of the article already notes stuff that I talked about in previous videos. Next, let's talk about Shohei Ohtani and Casey Mize. Now here's an article from MLB.com titled "The Most Unhittable Pitch in Baseball is Back." It says the most unhittable pitch in baseball is back and maybe even more unhittable than it was before. We're talking about Shohei Ohtani's splitter. Remember how in 2018 hitters were 2 for 55 against it? No, I do not remember. Striking out 35 times? No, I did not remember. Well, you should see what's happening in 2021. Okay. In 20 plate appearances ending on Ohtani's splitter this season, hitters are 0 for 19 with 18 strikeouts. Wow. You read that right. Ohtani hasn't just held opponents hitless with his splitter. He's finished off all but one of the at-bats with a strikeout. Wow. Only one batter has even put Ohtani's splitter in play, let alone gotten a hit. Hitters are striking out 90% of their plate appearances against the Ohtani splitter. That's crazy. I don't disagree. That is crazy. I agree. Shohei Ohtani splitter, 90%, 18 of 20 plate appearances. The highest strikeout rate with a single pitch, Ohtani's number one with that 90%. Tyler Glasnow, 68 with a curveball. Dustin May, curveball, 67. Christian Javier, slider, 65. In case you're wondering, the one hitter to reach base against Ohtani's splitter is reigning AL MVP Jose Abreu, who drew a walk against it on a full count splitter that Ohtani helicoptered way up and out of the strike zone. No one else has been so lucky. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's obvious that the splitter for Ohtani is his great equalizer, and it's his out pitch. It's the pitch he puts guys away with. Now, on the flip side, when it relates to Casey Mize for the Tigers, he has a splitter as well. And his splitter was and is advertised like Ohtani's. It's his out pitch. The problem is he can't locate his splitter, being Casey Mize. He can't get anybody out with a splitter. In fact, I do believe that his splitter is the number one pitch that he gets rocked the most on in 2 strike counts. He gets it 2 strikes, and then he can't put him away. Why is that? I don't know, but I think that Casey Mize should look at Ohtani's, videos, something, maybe call him up on the telephone and say, hey, Ohtani, we need to talk. Somebody has to address Casey Mize's splitter and compare it to Shohei Ohtani's, because obviously Ohtani has something working with that splitter. I know in Japan they are very savvy when it comes to pitching. They like to wheel and deal. They don't just throw heat, they throw junk in Japan. So I think Shohei Ohtani is a great example for a guy like Casey Mize who has a splitter and needs to figure it out when it comes to how he can use it and utilize it in 2 strike counts successfully. Because I've watched Tigers games, watched him today. He was good through, 4 or 5 innings or something. They were playing a 7-inning doubleheader between the White Sox today. I don't know if they lost the second game. I knew they lost the first game. But he was doing fine through 4, and then the minute the 5th inning rolled around, he got lit up. And even in the early going, you could tell that he could not locate his splitter. And his fastball isn't, lights out. It's 94, 95, maybe 96 here and there. But his splitter is his bread and butter, supposedly, but it hasn't been. It's been kind of moldy, I'd say. So I just think that Casey Mize should take a note out of Ohtani's booklet and incorporate it into your own, because it's obvious that Casey Mize and his splitter are very, very predictable and very hittable. And he's very vulnerable when he uses that pitch in 2 strike counts, because everybody knows that's his out pitch. I've seen, just being a Tigers fan watching, I've seen Casey Mize get into so many deep counts, 1-2, 3-2, because he tries to use that splitter even in early counts and he can't get it over. I don't know if he has a changeup. I think that Casey Mize should incorporate a changeup, but just from me as a spectator, from the outside looking in, he got a lot of guys out on a slider. Backdoor slider, front door slider, to lefties, to righties. He got ahead with the fastball, got back in the count with the fastball at 94, 95. But when he was ahead of the count, whether it was 0-2, 1-2, or whatever, 0-1, he'd throw a splitter and it'd be a ball or it'd get rocked up the middle. He got into these deep ball counts by trying to use that splitter, and then he'd have to come back with a fastball to get him back to a count that's in his favor a little bit here. And then finally, when he gets into a full count, whether it's 2-2 or 3-2, and he tries to throw the splitter, people know it's coming and they're going to rock him. So that's what I see, and that's something I want to note here between Ohtani and Casey Mize. Comment down below your thoughts on what you think of my comparison between Ohtani and Casey Mize. I know one's, outstanding. I know one sucks right now, but I think Casey Mize should really consider looking at Ohtani when it comes to a splitter, because it's working for Ohtani and it's not working for him. So that's what I think. Final thing here, another injury update I just saw relating to Corbin Burns and an injury that is not specified. According to this article, it says Corbin Burns' bid for history is on hold after the Brewers place a right-hander on the injured list on Thursday without specifying an injury. The Burns has struck out 49 batters in his first 5 starts this season without issuing a single walk, and he wants to make a bid to break closer Kenley Jansen's all-time record of 51 no walks in a start against Jansen and the Dodgers this weekend at American Family Field in Milwaukee. The only thing I can say is that we've made an IL placement and we're following Major League Baseball health and safety protocols. So obviously he has COVID. I mean, right there, it tells you he has COVID. I mean, it's no specified injury, and they literally say, the only thing I can say is that we made an IL placement and we're following Major League Baseball health and safety protocols. Brewers president of baseball operations David Stern said, quote, "I cannot comment on more than that. I'm not going to speculate on a return timetable or anything along those lines." Well, first of all, I can read between these lines. It's obvious that this guy, Corbin Burns, has COVID. It's just obvious. Because it says right here, we are following Major League Baseball health and safety protocols. Of course it's COVID. What else would it be? Now, he may not have COVID. He could possibly, another, possibility is that he could have came in contact with somebody who had COVID. Maybe he doesn't have COVID right now, but maybe he knows, maybe his wife, his girlfriend, his buddy, somebody he came in contact with within the past couple of days tested positive for COVID. That's what I'm thinking. Or it could be something else health related that is not COVID specific, but possibly maybe is something wrong with his heart, something's wrong with his lungs, something's wrong internally with Corbin Burns' body. I would say an educated guess, and I feel like it's fair to speculate and state this, is that it's obvious that there's a good chance that Corbin Burns has COVID, or he came in contact with somebody who has had COVID that he knows of, and he alerted the Brewers about that, and they put him on the IL. So that's my opinion. All right, guys, that's all I got for today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on what we talked about here today, and share the video. Tell your friends about these videos and my channel. I would appreciate it. And as always, guys, I will catch you later.